AAA gaming has a Satan-granted ability, a gift you might even say, to arrive at the incorrect conclusion in the face of even the most overwhelming of evidence. This has been demonstrated on multiple occasions the last few years, but we have here yet another example, as EA claimed in their latest earnings call that Dragon Age the Veilguard failed because it didn't reach a wide enough audience. I mean, in a kind of sort of technical way that is correct, but it's not really the problem here. That's more of a symptom rather than the disease itself. As they said in the earnings call, our blockbuster storytelling strategy is built on 3 strategic objectives. First, create an authentic story experience for the core audience. There you go, there's your actual idea. Second, build innovative, groundbreaking features. Well, you might want to remind yourself on that one. And third, emphasize high-quality launches across both PC and console. Hey, at least the Veilguard didn't crash much to my sadness. But they then go on, in order to break out beyond the core audience, games need to directly connect to the evolving demands of players who increasingly seek shared world features and deeper engagement alongside high-quality narratives in this beloved category. Well, I don't know about that. That sounds like a lot of marketing spiel for shared world features. Live service? I don't really think that's what people are clamoring for, honestly. They also say Dragon Age had a high-quality launch and was well reviewed by critics and those who played. Oh, I don't know about that either. However, it did not resonate with a broad enough audience in this highly competitive market. This sounds again like they are getting the exact wrong answer to the actual question they should be posing here. Why didn't it sell? Well, you decided to branch out beyond your core audience. Your core audience is what you should appeal to. They are the ones you should appease, because if you appease them, they will spread the word of mouth to other people. This is how a successful game franchise comes about. Creative Assembly's Total War didn't become successful because they started doing something radically different. They became successful by iterations, one game after the other, much the same, but with slight improvements or degrade more occasionally. Which would then receive a loud welcome by the fans of the franchise, spreading the word yet further and wider into the non-informed masses. That is what you should be aiming for, especially with a franchise like Veilguard, or Dragon Age more correctly. You should not, however, be betting everything on the wider audience, which, God help me, you still have not understood is a failure. Now, to be fair, this is in an earnings call where EA is trying to justify their failing predictions in the economic growth of the company. So perhaps they are simply just using a bit flowery language here, blaming a competitive market for the failure of Dragon Age Veilguard. Maybe. I would certainly sugar pill it much the same way to investors if I was going to try and sell away a woke disaster. As you can't simply just go, oh no, we pretty much wrote that off like 3 years ago, but we'd already sunk like $100 million into it, so I figured we'd throw the baby out with the bathwater and hope for the best, eh? Probably not a great tactic there. Now, they are also, however, learning some things, which gives some credibility to the idea that maybe they're playing a little bit of lip service here. Now, there's a couple of things. First, BioWare was, of course, gutted, as we know, with the entire writing team being fired. That does not sound like the actions of a company who's like, well, you know, dude, we just didn't quite reach the broader audience there, but we'll try again later. It sounds more like, you have failed us for the last time. Seppuku Nawu. And then there's Battlefield Labs, which they also mentioned in the earnings call. Now, in case you're unaware, Battlefield Labs is not the next Battlefield, which I've seen so many people on Twitter repeat ad addendum that it is. No. It is a beta test service system where they are going to try and test out mechanics and gameplay styles. In essence, it's them asking us to be our focus group. I wish I could say I disliked it because that does sound somewhat exploitative. However, I actually think this is a good initiative, and I mentioned in the earnings call as well that the feedback had been very, very positive because, well, Battlefield is a franchise that many have fond memories of, memories being the key word there, as the franchise has not had a very easy time of it as of late, largely because it doesn't quite seem to understand what it's trying to do. It's forgotten the Battlefield franchise, particularly with the last one. God, turning it into a hero shooter? Are you insane? Nobody asked for that, nobody wanted it, and the moment it entered into the wild, everybody rejected it. So this appears to be, hopefully, an attempt to go, okay, right, here's a game mechanic, what do you think about it? And then get some real feedback on it at a point in time of the development where it can still be changed. If they had, aired up the hero shooter thing, hey, do you like this? Is any problems with this, Then people would immediately go, yes, it makes the game silly. It makes it so that there's 500 of the same dude running around, and due to your introduction of various skills, some of which are blatantly overpowered, there's only really a point in playing one guy, which makes the entire army of clones things even worse. Stop it and never do it again. As I'm sure at the EA offices this seemed like a good idea. Oh hey, we can pad the game with these, we can release tons of new little operatives with tons of new broken skills to drive microtransactions, yay! Forgetting that they actually need players to sell this stuff to before they do the microtransactions. AAA gaming can largely be defined as putting the wagon before the horse. Coming up with a way to flay the poor bastard supposed to play the game before you actually try to, hook him in with the damn thing. Now, this, however, does appear to be a deviation from that, though I am cautious. The last Battlefield also looked like a return to form until it actually, released and was evident that it was anything but. But any heartfelt attempt to actually listen to the consumers and try to get their feedback on mechanics, on gameplay style, pacing, etc., is appreciated. Even if we're now kind of having been forced to do EA's work for them, trying to get them to relearn what made their games actually fun in the first place. More and more, I'm starting to get the feeling as if the consumers are expected to finish, complete, and bug test and then feedback finish the games that they are purchasing. Like, hey, what do you think about this mechanic? I don't know, I just want to play a dumb World War II shooter game. Do I really need to, break out my game design document for you here? Yeah, apparently you do. If it actually results in a decent Battlefield, it's worth the sacrifice, I do suppose. I still have thoroughly fond memories of Bad Company 1 and 2, which are probably my favorites, and 1942 as well. I've played the campaign for that like 7 or 8 times before I even had internet to play online. There was something just really comfortable about that game, It was also innovative. Remember that, EA? Remember innovation? Remember when you were creating new games? Wow, instead of simply just re-releasing soccer for the 15th time? Or, you know what? Perhaps you shouldn't be too innovative. You might be adding in a couple of extra genders here and there, which isn't really what we're looking for. Incidentally as well, I saw quite a few people talk about the genders in the application form for the Battlefield Labs beta, or alpha, whatever you want to call it really, where they noticed that they were they-them options, and some people were up in arms about that, but having seen a fair few of these, it's relatively standard. They might be using this for representative testing, and if they use it to over-represent the they-them so that they get the answers they are looking for, well, that's only really going to shoot them in the foot rather than us, so I don't particularly mind. In fact, ideally speaking, what they would do is to go, right, they, them. Let's just shove that application out of the pile and focus in entirely on our core demographic, straight males. That's like probably 98% of the Battlefield player base. If anything, a survey like this should be used to bring in like 5% women, just to check, just in case they happened upon something good with them, like 1% they-thems for a study test group, and then everything else just straight white males. All of it, and that's it. If it resonates with them, well, you've cornered pretty much the single largest market out there, and you might even be up on a game that will sell for once. I do enjoy the fact that companies now need to sell video games again. That is rather lovely. We had a far too long and far too dark period of video game developers making games first and foremost for the investment market, rather than the actual, players. I am cautiously optimistic. I really am. I like the idea of a Battlefield Lab style thing, so long as they actually give it enough time to bring aboard the feedback, and so long as this isn't simply just a empty virtue signal, which it could very well be, mind you. They put it up, there's a bunch of mechanics, the community hates them, and EA goes, oh, right, we'll totally get on fixing that. And then they get lots of pre-orders, because wow, they listened to us. Then the game releases, and the bullshit mechanics are still in there. Although, now, they're hidden behind a precisely 2 hours long tutorial. Just saying, that's definitely a possibility as well. But I like the idea. Let's see how it works out. Maybe EA could learn a lesson. Hey, they're no longer America's most hated corporation, so clearly they are doing something right. Anywho, until next time, I have been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.